We are continuing our Shiur on Matbayah Bracha. We are in the middle of the words of Kedishanu b'mitzvoi sav v'tzivanu al. We've already discussed the Siddur Rashash. He has two explanations of the diagrams which he gives. He has the explanation on top, and then he has the diagram, and then he has the explanation at the bottom. Okay, as we see in the Matbayah Bracha. Now we've explained the top introduction. We're not going to go back to that. That's the directive to tell us where the shofar is coming from. Now underneath the diagram, that's what we've been focusing on. We've been focusing on where the shofar is going to. Where the shofar is going to. So when we say the words Kedishanu, I'll read you out the words. We read this out quite a few times, and we've seen the charts that we did last time. There was machlokes between the Sadeh and the Alena, the way they learn what exactly are you misakin. Let me just put those exactly to be masbir. The machlokes is very, very tifa machlokes. But what we're seeing over here is that you have a setup of the worlds, as we saw. These are all the charts, again, that we saw last time. So you have the chart which starts off with Atzilus, and then underneath Bria, Yetzira, and Atzilus. Now, whichever mitzvah you're doing, what you do, you're affecting the worlds. Okay? That's number one. And also you're affecting the patzufim which are in there. What do I mean by affecting? You're rectifying. You're rectifying the world, and you're rectifying the patzufim which are inside those worlds. So we have a little bit of a machlokes between Rabbeinu Alena, which is Nisim Harari Raful, and the Sadeh, which is of Shol Dwek. Exactly when you're pronouncing a Matbayah Bracha, and we're particularly focused on birkas and mitzvahs, because it changes whether you're doing a birkas as shvach or do, and a bracha which ain't bo ma'aser, a bracha sheyesh bo ma'aser, it changes. So what we're working with here particularly is a birkas and mitzvah sheyesh bo ma'aser, like tikiyah shofar or whatnot. Now,
where'd that come in when we haven't done this at all?
Excuse me?
This wasn't mentioned last time at all.
Kedishanu, we're saying, what's Kedishanu? We're making a bracha, right? Kedishanu b'mitzvois v'tzivanu al, right? Al tikiyah shofar. So that's a birkas a mitzvah. That's what we're speaking about here, particularly, not birkas a shvach. So birkas a mitzvah, we're going to have a little bit, whichever bracha actually, but we're focused on birkas a mitzvahs. So in birkas a mitzvah lemoshel, you're going to have a machlokes again. You're going to have machlokes all Matbayah bracha between Alina and the Sadeh. But we're going to focus on birkas a mitzvahs, the chiluk between the Alina and the Sadeh in birkas a mitzvahs. Sheyesh bo ma'aser. So again, we're going to look at the worlds that you're affecting. We're going to be looking at the patzufim which you're affecting. So they set up the diagram of this a bit differently, as we showed last time. So those who have the Sefer in the Kesef Hashlom Chelek Aleph will see on page 11. This is the way, as we showed these diagrams yesterday last time as well. This is the way the Alina brings it, and you see a slight difference over here in the way the Sadeh brings it. You see the diagram is a bit different over here. Now the major difference between them is whether, let me just focus on over here. So that's it. If we can focus, that's a bit better, right? So the major difference between the Alina and the Sadeh is, at the beginning of the bracha, we brought what's called Mochim de Katnas. Mochim de Katnas. When we got to Melech HaOlam, we stopped Mochim de Gadlus, that we saw. The shaila is, do we incorporate that in the tikkun process of the Olamas and the Patzufim? So according to the Sadeh, he says, yes, we do. Yes, we do. And we'll find here in this very nicely drawn chart for us, by the Nikus Kesef, that the Mochim de Katnas will be misakin half of the worlds. So the Mochim de Katnas will be fixing this area, this area, this area, this area, this area, this area, this area. It's quite a large kamus of the Olamas will be sorted out by the Mochim de Katnas. But when we turn to the chart which is drawn by the Alina, we'll find the Mochim de Katnas does not play at all a part in being misakening these four worlds. You see this? So there's no Mochim de Katnas at all in this diagram. It's all Mochim de Gadlus. So Moche, as you're saying the words Kedishanu b'mitzvois avitzivanu, that's when you're going to be doing the Ma'aser Tikkun.
There's no mention of the Gadlus on this page.
Yeah, it says Kshanu b'mitzvot avitzivanu al. And we know those words to mean Moche de Gadlus. We know that. We know that, right? When you say Melech Olam, you go to Absak Da'ak. We explained this already many times. And you're drawing down at this point in the bracha, you're already drawing down Moche de Gadlus when you're saying these words, okay? So, now, so that's one major difference. Okay. Now, even within the Moche de Gadlus, you're going to find a chiluk, obviously, because according to the Alena, you're going to have to do much more work with Moche de Gadlus to cover all this area of all the Olamas to misaken all this, as opposed to the Sadeh, half of it is already being misuken by the Moche de Katnus. Okay? So therefore, there's no real hachah for this, how we paskin. There's no really hachah how the Rashash takes on this, whether it's like appear the Sadeh or appear the now, even though the Rashash was much earlier than them, or he lived like 350 years ago. But nevertheless, so we're gonna show the comparison between them with these two charts. Okay.
Is this?
Yeah, they have eyes. Yeah, we're not going to go on all the tif lomdis and machloekes in between them. We're just superficially looking at the two shitas. So that would take a more intensive shiur to look inside the alina and the sadeh and exactly probe them and start, really get into the beinas of the machloekes. But we're just looking very quickly. This is only a kitzur of the Matbayah bracha we're learning over here. Okay, so let's run through the Matbayah bracha. So those who have a Siddur Rashash, look at the words Kedishanu. We're going to start with the words Kedishanu, right in front of you. So let's start from the top very quickly, and then we're going to move downwards. So when we're saying the word Kedishanu, the Rashash tells us, so you go to the source. This is where it's coming from. This is the source. And where are they? They are in the world of Atzilus. And what are you bringing down? He says, Makifim Lamed Mem. Those are the high bechinas. First you bring the Lamed Mem, the high bechinas, and then you're going to bring the lower bechina called the Tzadi. Let's call it Tzalim. The Tzalim Mochim de Chochmas. The Abavim Avayasud im Neranchi de Chai Shebehem. Meaning is that out of the Tzadi, the Lamed Mem, which you're bringing down, this is a type of Shefa, the higher types of Shefa, we're going to subdivide the Lamed Mem into a Chochma, Bina, Avak, and Malchus, which basically means Chochma, Bina, and Das. Chasadim, Das, and Gvul, Das. We spoke about this last time. Also, on the diagram, you find that on the right-hand side of the diagram, we find Chochma, the Lamed Mem, which is brought down by Abba. And the left-hand side, you bring in the Shefa of Chochma, the Lamed Mem, which is brought down by Ima. That we spoke about. Now, what is new here in this shiur is that we're going to speak about where it's going to. So look at underneath the diagram, the instruction is Lechabot Chagat de Mauben. We also spoke about that. Chabot Chagat is a Lashon Mushal to mean Lamed Mem. That means wherever you're bringing from, you bring from the Lamed Mem, which is sourced from Yasut and Abavima. You're going to bring that identical shefa to the identical place in the identical shefa into Zah. So you bring in Lamed Mem, what's called Lamed Mem. You're going to bring down Lamed Mem into the Lamed Mem position of Zah. Where is that? That's Chabad Chagad, which really, like we said, is deceiving. Doesn't mean you bring it inside the parts of the Chabad Chagad, but rather on top of the Chabad Chagad. The Ma'oben means the right and left side, means the totality of Zah. The parts of Kachba de Atzilus. The parts of Kachba de Atzilus, the Zah de Atzilus. Meaning, you're working with the world of Atzilus. You're working with Zah de Atzilus. You bring the Shefa to Zah de Atzilus. Which part of Zah will bring Mochim the Gadlus, which is always connected the Kachab. Mochim is Chochma Bina Das, or Kesef Chochma Bina Das. You're bringing that type of Shefa that would automatically go into the Kachav. Remember, when we started the bracha, we said, Baruch Hashem Elokeinu, that was Mochim the Katus, that you brought into the Nai and the Chaga. Now you bring it into the Kachab, Mochim the Gadlus. And he says, Zad Atzilus. So Zad Atzilus, if you remember the chart, that's going to be number 1 and number 5. So let's see that inside. Where's number 1 here? Where is that identified on this chart? So let's look with the chart of the Alina. So here's number 1. So as we said, this is what you're going to be massacring over here, the Zam which is over here. The Za of the Atzilus, the Atzilus. That's what he's referring to. Now if it's Birkas the Shvach, you're going to be working with 5. You're going to be massacring this Za, which is Vayt Atzilus, but it's Atzilus, the Atzilus, but on the Chitzonius part. Birkas Shvach. Okay? Now let's look at the chart of the Sadi now. On page 113. On 113 it's also 1 and 5, and it also looks very identical. Okay, so here's number 1 for Birkas HaMitzvahs. Except here you're encompassing here we're working with Kedishanu, so you're working with the Atzilus of the Atzilus. It's just broken down a bit differently here. He has over here Siya Yitzias Bria, and he also has a Siya Yitzias Bria. He splits up the chitzon of the pnimis into this, and the pnimis of the pnimis also. So the Mochim the Katz is taking part of this part, like I told you, and you're doing just number 1. Okay, and number 5 whether it's Birkas HaMitzvah. So for that particular Nakuda over here, and the first when you say Kedishanu, in Kedishanu it's very similar. Okay. Now, let's continue. Oh, by the way, you're doing more than that. You're not only doing number 1, you're actually doing number 9 and number 17 and number 25 as well. But all in the Atzilus Chelik of them, if you see that. Okay? All the way down that row. And for the Alina, for that case as well. Same thing. Okay, so the Alina would be, the numbers would be 9, 17, and 25. You're all doing the Atzilus of it. Now, what are the 2 last words that he says over here in the inscription over here? The Abiyah the Atzilus. So we learned last time, we read that in Sha'ar Kedusha, Sha'arei Kedusha of the Rav Chaim Vital, he introduces this thought called this extremely tremendously big parts of called Mertzav HaSfiros. Mertzav HaSfiros encompasses everything we've been talking about. So we've been talking about the worlds of Atzilus and Bria and Yetzira and Asiya. Now we're going to look actually at a bigger picture called the Mertzav HaSfiros, which is also another word, says the Divrei Sholom, which is the Nechid of the Rashash. He calls that the Akva Abiyah, meaning Adam Kadmon and the Atzilus and Bria Asiya, all that of Atzilus, meaning it's a huge part of which encompasses everything. So, when we talk about the last 2 words over here,
where does it come from?
Where does it come from? The Eibishter made it.
No, I mean, where is it corresponding to all the other parts of it? It's just all a code.
Yeah, it's a bigger area. Right? If I draw a bigger circle and I draw a smaller circle, so what we've been talking to now is the smaller circles. But it contained within a bigger area called Mertzav HaSfiros. Now you have to know the Mertzav HaSfiros is quite small compared to the Mertzav HaNeshamas, which encompasses it. Mertzav. Mem Ches Tzadi Beis. I translate it as it's a station, Mertzav. It's a station where the Sfiros are held. Okay? Around that there's a Mertzav of Neshamas, around that there's a Mertzav of Malachim, and around that you have a Mertzav called Mertzav HaChoshech. Right? So these are tremendously big Partzufim, or Lamas you can call them, or Mertzav, which accompanies us. So that is the indication by the last 2 words in that address. That he says, the Abiyah Atzilus. That's the way he wants to touch up over here. That Abiyah Atzilus is the Mertzav HaSfiros. Okay, so we're going from micro to macro. Let's read that again. Chabad Chaga, that's we're really specifically looking at a particular area in Zohar, Lechabad Chaga de Mauben, the parts of Kachba, that's it, we're getting larger, we're spreading out. Like you said, where are you, what's your address? My address is number 25, and the road is Buick Street in Manchester, and in England, and then UK, in Europe. That's what we're looking at, okay? So it's Chabad the Chaga de Ma de Ben, the parts of Kachba the Atzilus de Za, the Atzilus, which is contained in the Abiyah the Atzilus, which is called the Meltzav Sfiros, as opposed to Meltzav and Neshamas. Now, what differentiates when you're? Well, how do you know whether you're in a Meltzav of Sfiros or Meltzav of Neshamas, Lashon? Well, that will be depending what bracha you're making. So, like I said, we're taking on right now. We're making a birkas and mitzvahs. When you're birkas and mitzvahs, kach klal biyodcha. We're always working in the Meltzav of Sfiros. When you're doing a birkas and nenim l'mashal, you'll be working with the Meltzav and neshamas, the Meltzav and neshamas, the kehena v'kehena. Okay, depending which bracha you're making. Okay, very good. Let's continue now. Now the next page. When you're working in the word b'mitzvoisav. So let's start reading. Yechavel lehamshich ma'akif elamemem b'tzal memochem the binois, the abba ve'ima, the yasu, the mnaramchim, the neshama shebahem. So now we work with the chochma of the lamed mem. That's the bina of the lamed mem coming down. Again, this is the diagram of abba with the lamed mem. Ima of the lamed mem are coming down where they're going to zah. Let's read the address now. So there's two differences here, but basically it's the exact same address. Lechabot chaga de ma uben the parts of kachba de bria now, not that tzilus. That's the first difference. The zada tzilus, that's similar. U de bria, and they add in another bria. Those are the two differences. The abia de atzilus, which is the same. That's mertzav sfiros. So what does it mean? Let's see the diagram now. So let's start with the shitas of Ali now. So let's see the diagram on page 111. So where would that be indicative of? So if you look, and he's even added the names, the names of the bracha. So b'mitzvoisav is number 2, and it's also number 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that over there. So let's focus in. So let's work in the world of Bria here. This is the word of Bria, because he says Bria. This is Atzilus. Bria is working with number 2 of Atzilus, which is the Bria de Atzilus. Bria de Atzilus, and then you're going to do or Masakin the Bria and the Yitzira and the Asiya, which is 10, 11, 12 of the world of Bria, Okay, that's what we're doing. That's according to the Alina. Now let's see the way the Sadeh is working out. So let's flip the page over to 113. So in 113, when we say the words b'mitzvoisa, we're working with number 1 still. In the world of Atzilus. Okay? In the world of Atzilus, b'mitzvoisa, that's because of mitzvah, because of nen, because of shvach, we're working with number 5 still. But the only difference is that you're working with the Bria Shebo, the Bria Datzila. Okay? You're also going to be working with number 9 and number 13. Number 9 and 13 are Pchat. As opposed to the Sada, you're working with the entire the Atzilus, the Asiya, Yitzira, and Bria, and Atzilus of the entire Bria. Okay? That's what we're going to see. We work in this area over here. Okay, so let's continue. We're doing well now. Let's go. V'tzivanu.
Wait, that's including 18 and 26, yeah? 18
and 26. Why dafka 18? Which?
The Bria as well. In Soda.
The Soda, no, 18 and 26, that you did already at the beginning of the bracha. You did 18, 19, 20 at the beginning of the bracha. You did 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, all at the beginning of the bracha. Okay, that's Mochem the Kabbalists. We are focusing on the latter part of the bracha, which is Mochem the Kabbalists. And particularly now we're doing the word Vitzivanu. So it's very. I like this chart because he actually puts puts the word of the bracha in the chart itself. It's very easy to identify it. So let's continue. So what are you doing? Where is the shefa coming from? He says vak. Now we're doing the vak, the abavim v'yasud, im l'ranchi the ruach shebehem. Vak we translate as the chasadim v'das. Again, the picture over here of abavima, the shefa coming from abavima. Now, when we look where it's going to, it's called the Chabad Chaged, the Ma'u Ben, the Pasuk Kachva, the Yitzira. That's the only change here. With one more change, the Zad Atzilus, always bring it to Zad Atzilus, which Atzilus is it? V'di Yitzira. V'di Yitzira. So it's multiple, it's not only one area, it's multiple areas. Okay, the Abiyad Atzilus, weiter, it's Mertzav Asfiras. So, okay, so let's go back to our chart. So when we look at the chart of the Sadeh, we're going to see the words Vetzivanu. Where is that? That's number 3. That's number 3 over here. When you're working with the Birkas HaShvach, you're going to be working with number 7. Number 7. And as well, you're going to be working with the entire world of Yetzirah, meaning...
This is in the Alina, yeah, not...
So the Alina, I made a mistake, right. So the Alina, you'll be working with Vetzivanu is number 3 and number 7. And the entire world of Yetzirah, meaning 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, depending whether it's Birkas HaMitzvahs or Birkas HaShvach. Birkas HaMitzvahs is over here, Birkas HaShvach is over here. Okay? That's what you do. Now, if we flip over to the Sadeh, then when we say the word Vitzivan is again right in number 1 and number 5. And as well, let's go to the world of Yetzirah over here. And the world of Yetzirah, you've been working with, again, the entirety of 17 and 21, if it's Birkas HaShvach. That's where it's going to work. Over here and over here. Okay? Oh, that's good. Let's continue weiter. And finally, when we say le or al, those are 2 options in the bracha. Yechav and Amshir Ma'akivim Lamemem B'Tzal Memochim the Malchius the Abba V'Ima Meranchi the Nefesh Shebehem, which is the Gvos the Das. And you see on the right hand side the Malchius the Lamed Men the Tzal the Abba, the Chasadim the Gvos the Das of Abba is coming down. Left hand side from the Lamed Mem of the Ima coming down. Where's it going to again? Same broch, the same area. The Chabad, Chaged, the Mad, the Ben, the parts of Kachvad. Now, the Asiya. The Zad Atzilus, that hasn't changed. Vid the Asiya. So you're working with the world of Asiya in Atzilus and also the world of Asiya proper. The Abiyad Atzilus, that's going to be the Mertzav Tzfiras. Okay, so let's go back again, the last time, to finish off the chart of the Sadeh, of the Alina. So we're going to work. Let's work with the world of Atzilus. Atzilus over here, which is number 4. You're going to be misakening this area, number 4.
Where's the le here?
Excuse me?
Where's the le?
Same thing. Al or le, it's the same thing. It's doing the same thing. Okay. So you're working with number 4 and number 8 for Birkas HaShvach, and then go all the way down to the world of Asiya over here, and you're working with number 26, 27, 28. Birkas HaShvach will be 30, 31, 32. That means Birkas HaShvach, you're working with the Chitzonis Olamas, and Birkas HaMitzvahs, you'll be working with the Pnimis Olamas. That's the way it works. Okay? And that's the entire tikkun of this chart of Atzilus, Bri, Asiya, and all the Parzuf, and the Zun, which is found in all those Parzufim. So there we go. Baruch Hashem. So we basically finished the actual bracha. You actually have to say the word, what you're working on, Tikya Shofar. And then once you say the final Tikya Shofar, that means you're pronouncing the mitzvah that you're working on, then you actually do the mitzvah. Now, this is a bit of a shiloh.
Did you do a soda, yeah?
Excuse me?
Did you do the soda?
Did I do the soda? Oh, sorry. Oh, I didn't do the soda. let's just do the Sadeh. Sadeh is very similar to what we did beforehand. You're working with number 1 and number 5, sorry, the Pnimis and the Chitza, and then go all down to the world of Asiyah, and you'll be working with number 25, and if you're doing Birkas Shvach, you're working with number 29 over here. Same thing. So they're very, very similar, the Ma'alach of the Sadeh and the Alina, except there are differences when you look more Be'iyun, more proteistic into the world. You're going to see some differences over there. And besides the major difference that according to the Alina, again, you're working, according to the Sadeh, you're working with Mochim the Catalyst, which is helping you build the Olamas, and according to the Sadeh, according to the Alina, it's doing something else. It's just bringing down the Sheva, but it's not particularly working on the Olamas. Now, the Shaila is when you work now, so far we worked with the Lamed Mem. Now, Lamed Mem is not complete until you bring the Tzadi. So the Lamed Mem, the Shefa which is hovering above his head, those are the Makifim. Then the Tzadi, which we're going to bring down now, when we say Al, and you say the Bracha, the actual mitzvah, Al Nitilas Lulav, or Al Tikir Shofar, Kehena, it's actually that part of the Shefa is going to go inside the goof. Inside the goof. A little bit of a Shaila. Do you have to actually do the mitzvah to get the shefa inside, or just the fact that you pronounce the ma'aseh mitzvah, that's good enough? Because so does it happen b'shas bracha, or does the shefa is machnitz inside the parts of b'shas bracha?
Well, if it was a bracha, tzadi would also
either be bracha or b'ma'aseh.
With the bracha, when you didn't do the ma'aseh, would it still go in?
Excuse me?
If you said the bracha but didn't do the ma'aseh.
Without doing?
Of the ma'aseh.
Without doing the ma'aseh? No, obviously not.
Right.
Yeah, obviously not. Yeah, not anything. Bracha l'vatala.
Yeah.
Trying to catch me out there, huh?
Well, I mean,
okay.
There's a Tanai of Keeb as well, isn't there?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just you have page 199?
199.
Okay, so I'm just going to read you out over here what he brings down b'shem the Rabbeinu Rashash in Now Shalom Lav Chav Aleph. Just to continue. It says as follows: Va'achekach alidei asiyas ma'aseh mitzvah hahi or hano hahi hanasis beguf odom mamish. So either it's because of mitzvahs, which you don't have a no particularly, or it's a because of no that you have a no on your goof. V'lo yedei bo levad. That's not only the fact that you're saying a bracha because a shvach is only b'divo. As because you have in these particular examples, you have to do a mash. You have to do something which is going to be mamshech the shefa. As yechav la'amshech amochim the pnimi the tzadi. Now we're working with the tzadi now. The tzal me'amochim and nitzkala el de abba ve'ima lenahi, because divided to we've been bringing it towards the Chabad Chagat of Zah. Those are the Lamed Mem. Now we're bringing the tzadi, which is the lower part of the shefa. We're going to bring that into the nai. Makes sense. Lenai the pas of kachba dema uben dema u ma uben de ben. That means both sides of zah, both the ma side and the ben side. This zone. So not only zah now, we're seeing that you bring in this particular shefa into the tzadi, which is the lamais shefa, into both zah v'nukva. So he mentions that Zun v'Yakov v'Rachel, which is the Nukva Chelik, v'de Malchut v'de Bi'a al dera Nizkan b'Bocha. So he explains. Nilmad mikan she'achi shebo birkas ha'morchim b'Bocha, ha'morchim ha'vakiv in the Gadlus, as ha'morchim the Gadlus ha'penim in the tzadi yavo al yidei ma'aseh mitzvah v'ana. אבל עלינו לזכור שהמורכים אלו דצדי הם כמורכים דלמד מן נחלקו גם לחוב חוג. We brought down Lamed Men, but we didn't bring it in one go. We split out the Lamed Men first. We cut it up in pieces. First brought the Chochma of the Lamed Men, and then the Bina of the Lamed Men, Chasadim the Das Lamed Men, and then the Gvuz Das Lamed Men. So we brought in Chelik. We're going to do the exact same thing with the Tzadi. The Tzadi we're going to split into 4 parts, but we're not going to see it b'poel, but that's the way it works. Because if it happened for part of the Shef, which is Lamed Mem, it's going to work as well the same thing for the Tzadi. But we're going to only see it as one go. But you should know that it happens also in this kibbutz. ולא בטבעס, וחלוקה מסוימת כמטבע ברכה, אז יכוון אותם בבס אחז, לא פשוט. וזה מה שקוראים בסידר הקודש. This is what the Rashash writes in his actual Siddur. ואחר על ידי מייסה מצווה היא, אם היא מצווה מייסיס, או דיבור מצווה, שהוא קריס ההלו וכיוצא, so you're doing a מייסה, יכוון להמשך המויכים פנימי דצדי דצל ממויכים הנעל, דאבבים לנאי דפסו כך דמה ובן בן, דמה או מה ובן דמן, דזון דיעקב ורחב, דמלכות דביה דעד דרך, okay, he just repeats himself what he said before. Okay, so let me just show you a picture of this. I might make another picture of this. So let me just show a picture of this. I will understand it as follows. Okay. So the exact same picture, except
What's this?
is that it?
It's 158.
It's 120.
Oh.
Oh no, that's good. No, you're right. Yeah, no, it's good. You find it there. So let's look on the Matbayah bracha. Yeah, this is the easier way. Show it to everybody. There we go. Yeah, that's perfect.
Is it 158?
What?
That's what you're trying to...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's easier to hold up. Okay, so here we go. So this is the identical picture of what we've been seeing so far with the Lamed Mem, except just replace the word Lamed Mem with Tzadi. So here we go. What do we have over here? We have, instead of have a mitzvah zavitzivano, Kedishanu b'mitzvah zavitzivano al, that was by the Makifim. But we won't have that. We'll have all four halakim, all the basachas when you say the mitzvah. Tikir shofar, or halal, whatever, not. So here you go. This is the chokhmah of the lam, of the tzadi, of Abba Bima. This is going to be the bina, this halakim over here. This third quadrant over here is going to represent in the vak, and this fourth quadrant is going to represent the malchus. B'kitzur, you bring the chokhmah of the tzadi, the bina of the tzadi, the chasadim, the das, the tzadi, and also we're going to be working with the malchus, which is the gvus, the das, the tzadi. So that's the entire tzadi which is going inside the parts of Zahar. So let's just read the words at the bottom over here. Where is it going to? As is explained, it's working with the lenahi instead of the chavod chaga that we've been talking about. Lenahi, the parts of kachbad, again this mochim the gadlus. The ma'u ben de ma'u, u'ma'u ben de ben, means basically the right hand side and the left hand side. This zun vid the Yaakov Rachel, because now it's going lemaisa into the lower parts of, completely into the parts of. So we're including zun into this. We're including Yaakov Rachel, vid the malchus, all the lower parts of are being native from this. The bia al derech, which is found all in bia. The al derech anizkar bebracha. Al derech nizkar bebracha. Yeah. Okay. So, like I mentioned to you, there's a little bit of a shaila. Is the shefa coming in b'shas bracha or b'shas ma'aseh? So he says over here, b'sefer kodesh shal rachamim amad b'zeh, or maybe the shem esad the sheish lechaven et shemot kelim. Sorry, the shem kelim. He brings it over here that there's a bit of a shaila over here, but he says the ma'aseh you can have either b'shas ma'aseh or b'shas bracha. Nara pashte. Now, yeah. Okay, so I think that's what we have to say for that. So we're going to stop it for then, and then that was all covering the birkas a mitzvah. Like I was marking before, we focus on birkas a mitzvah. Now the shayla is, what about other mitzvahs? Birkas a nanim. You have birkas a hodol. You have brachas which don't have any ma'aseh whatsoever, like birkas a goimel. You have all different types of brachas, matbayah brachas. So that we're going to discuss in the next year, which hopefully is going to be our last year on this. I don't think it's going to be a bit more than that. Discussing how the Kabbalah is going to fit into different types of brachas. Okay, so we'll stop it now for now. We'll meet next time.